Good day, Chief here. Yes, I've been gone. I've had computer problems, and yes, I'm wearing a different hat today. This is the hat I received from our Kazakhstan officers. It's got some kind of symbol on it. I don't know exactly what that symbol means, but that was one of the gifts we got. And like I said, we all looked at the major captain's officer map case. So the captain and my fellow warrant officer and I, we each received one of these because we asked for one. So this is the inside. You got your maps here, you got a little strap, you got room for pens and pencils and protractors and erasers, and plus this opens up so you can put in orders and paperwork and all kinds. It's really nice. Never used it, but it's still nice to have because it's good memories of my Kazakhstan trip. Now, here's the funny part. This is what's really funny, is that, like I said, we went there, we picked up a company of soldiers that came up from Fort Polk, and they had all their weapons. We fired up all the ammunition. I think we had to shoot up all the ammunition. We couldn't bring any home. So here's the funny part. So we packed up so we could convoy back to Almaty to go directly to the airport. So we get there and we go through the same gate that we went out, which was basically on the concourse, because we parked on a runway that was not used that often, so we could be away from the terminal building itself, since we were military and international flight, so to speak. So we get to the same gate. Now, all of the soldiers from Fort Polk have all got weapons. So we pull up to the gate. They say, everybody get off the bus. Leave your weapons on the bus. We all got to go through the metal detector to make sure we don't have any weapons on our bodies. But we got a busload of weapons. And of course we had to leave a guard because, if we didn't leave a guard, the weapons would have been confiscated. So we got out of the bus, walked through the terminal, went right back outside, so to speak, got back on the bus, sent the people that guarded the weapons, sent them through. We all got on the bus, we all passed, none of us had any weapons on our bodies. And this is an all-day affair because we packed up early in the morning. I think we ate lunch and then we took off after lunch to convoy back to Almaty. So it's now getting towards evening. The sun is going down in the horizon. Because we're out in a big, wide open area. Almaty is. It's surrounded by mountains in the distance. So, yes, there are a couple full bird colonels and there's a couple lieutenant colonels, I believe. Now, for those of you that don't know the rank structures, a W01 is the equivalent of a lieutenant and a first lieutenant, a second and a first lieutenant. CW2 is the equivalent of a captain. CW3 is major, leaning towards the lieutenant colonel. CW4, lieutenant colonel and colonel, and of course the CW5's got the same privileges as all the generals. So we get there, we form up, we pack the plane, or the soldiers do, I guess I should say. They pack all our duffel bags, they pack all their weapons because we had to carry them individually, and then they had to put them in weapons racks to put on the plane, if I remember correctly. Or did they take them directly on the plane? I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. I think they took them on the plane. So all the rest of us soldiers were standing there. We're waiting till the plane is loaded or packed. Doors are closed. Now it's time to board the plane. I'm a CW4 at this time. Last rank I will hold in the military. So oh God, I don't even know who it was. Whoever was in charge of the flight came out and said, colonels, you can board the plane. Because, officers, of course, are going to ride in the front because we really didn't have a first class on this plane, and I don't think I think we had a minor business class, and then of course you had the cattle car seating for the rest of the troops. So they pulled the colonels out, and then the captain and my fellow warrant officer, I think she's a CW2 at the time, they're like, hey, they should have called you along with those guys. And I'm like, yes, they should have done that because I'm got the same respect and privileges, so to speak, as they do. So the military personnel, he came back out and he goes, Chief, you can board the plane. And I looked at the captain and I looked at the CW2 and I'm like, see ya. I mean, it's not like I got any extra special seat. I even took the very front row because the colonels sat like in the second row and of course spread themselves out so they could have room to look at paperwork on the way home, like, you know, we had importance or anything to do on the way home. We were done with the exercise. Maybe they're getting their notes ready. I don't know. So then the rest of the troops board, and of course the soldiers that I befriended, the squad, they were like, hey, Chief, you're sitting up front. I go, yep. Said, you can't sit up here with me either. They're like, just teasing them. So we boarded the plane, and by the time it's boarded, it's beyond twilight. It's starting to get dark. So we're sitting there, and this is my luck with planes. I will talk about me with luck and flying in planes in my civilian life. So we're sitting there, and we're sitting there, and we're sitting there. We're waiting for the boarding manifest and the weight that we're taking back so we can fly. And of course, they're tabulating that still inside the concourse. Finally, they get it out to us. We fly to Leipzig, Germany. So I can say for the first time in my life, I finally got on the other side of the wall in Germany. But of course, we couldn't do much because we got there. We had to refuel there so we could fly all the way home. So we sat inside a concourse. And there was nothing to do because it was already like in the midnight. There was no cafeteria open or anything like that. Of course, they had machines, but had to have, what, euro at that time? Yeah, it had to have euro at that time, and nobody really had any euro. There was a liquor store open, though. Didn't understand that one. We were told can't buy any alcohol. But the liquor store was open. Kind of sounds like COVID, doesn't it? So we sat there until the plane got refueled. Then we got on the plane. And then, of course, this plane's going to go all the way to Fort Polk. But, of course, they had to drop us off down in South Carolina, where we embarked almost a month ago, it seems like. It was a good month. So we get there, of course, following the moon, so to speak, rather than the sunlight. So we're staying pretty close to the time zones. And I like those flights rather than going against the time zone. I like flying with the time zone, even though it makes for a heck of like a 30-hour day, so to speak. So we get there, and our van's not there to go take us back home to Fort Gordon. It's only like, what, a 2-hour drive or something like that. So one of the majors, he says, well, come over to our building, because at first we were sitting basically right on the tarmac. We got our duffel bags, got all the stuff that we needed or that we brought with us, and we're just sitting there, and then someone drove by and said, what are you guys sitting here for? Well, we had to call to get the van to come get us. And they're like, okay, well, you can come over to our building. You can sit in there while the van comes up to get us. And of course, it got us. And then, of course, we got home like, oh, dark 30, as they always say in the military. So, yeah, we basically got home just before dawn. And it was just like, okay, everybody drove home. And the exercise was done. My last exercise, didn't know it at the time. I wanted to go the following year because, like I said, the guys, or the Kazakhstan soldiers that we did the war game with, they were like sponges. They were like little kids, you know, tell me more, I want to know more, I want to know more. And since this was, this exercise was not classified, we can only go unclassed. We couldn't tell them the secret stuff. Now, I mean, they knew there was more to what we could do, but we weren't slated for that because we don't know what. I don't even think they had what we call special security officer. I don't think they even had an SSO at the site we were at. If they did, I never met them. The equivalent would be our G2 or S2. That's the security section. I don't think we even had an S2 there. I think we replicated an S2 and that was about it. I think that was us because I think we were like a S2, S3, or we even could have been a G2, G3, depending on the level. So it was fun. I mean, yeah, I slept uncomfortable for a while because I'm one of those people that I don't sleep very well in new surroundings. So it takes me a while to get used to my cot. And since I had to corner the tent and ended up having the corner of the tent by myself because, I mean, you could put, I think it was a dozen you can put in there. I think we had about 5 or 6 of us. So, and nobody snored. That was the good thing. Nobody snored. Because it seems like every time someone snores, they're always the first ones asleep. So that's my wrap up. Those are my gifts. We didn't bring anything per se except our knowledge. And I think that's why they went out of their way. I mean, I don't know if this is supposed to be a religious hat or what, but it's lined. I mean, it's a nice hat and all. I wear it occasionally around the house just to wear it. I mean, it's hand, and the symbol on there is hand stitched onto there. So I mean, this is not like fully machine made. So there was care and handmade, and it doesn't even have a tag like, you know, made in Kazakhstan or anything. So it's really nice. I like it. It's a nice hat. I mean, makes me look kind of like, you know, I should be a, don't want to pick on any religions, but like I should be a Catholic, so to speak, wearing this hat. You know, just need more of a peek. If anybody's seen Euro Trip, love that movie. So this is Chief out. This is it for Kazakhstan. Like I said, this is my last assignment. I really don't have much left to talk about except same old stuff. Get rid of inventory. I did my 15-6 story. So did all the re-enlistments. So I'll do a wrap up. But this is even ending my career. I'll probably go to every other week after I finish up my military career, and I'll start talking about certain subjects because I think there's certain subjects that hopefully more military personnel sees this, and then they can learn from my experience of what I kept, because I kept everything. So Chief out. Oh, speaking of these guys wanting so much, think about what's going on in Ukraine right now, because it's Soviet tactics and then Russian tactics, at least on the Russian side, and then the Ukrainian side, you're looking at old Soviet tactics. And then after 2014, when the Donbass conflict first started, they were starting to do more Western stuff. So it's proving to be far superior than the Soviet style stuff. So Chief out. Freedom's not free. You know what to do with the vet. And remember, Memorial Day is coming up this month.